Hey guys, tonight we begin with something a little darker. A time of frost, famine, and fear, served up right in the middle of what should have been a bright, green summer. We're diving into the hidden winter of 1816, the year the sun seemed to fade. Before you get cozy, do me a small favor. If you truly enjoy the calm journeys we take here, tap the like button and subscribe so you never drift off alone. And let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Seeing this little community shine from every corner of the world always warms my heart. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a quiet fan for that soft background hum. Drag your blanket up to your chin. Give your shoulders one last shake so the day's tension slips away. Take a slow breath in and out. Congratulations, you've just woken up in June of 1816. The good news, you're alive. The bad news, the summer isn't. You open your eyes, expecting dawn to spill golden light through the shutters. Instead, a dull pewter glow presses against the glass. The air bites your nose as if April never ended. Your breath turns to mist, curling like ghostly ribbons above the straw-tick mattress. Outside, sheep huddle behind stone walls, their fleece dusted white, because overnight it snowed. The calendar swears it's June, but your numb toes scream December. Chickens refuse to leave the coop. The apple orchard stands silent, blossoms shriveled brown. You pull on your thickest wool and step outside. The world is quiet, as though the birds skipped sunrise. A neighbor trudges past, shoulders hunched, muttering about this cursed weather. Overhead, the sun is a pale disk, more moon than star, wrapped in thin gray gauze. You rub your arms. Something is wrong with the sky, with the wind, with the very smell of the soil. No one can say why, only that the cold doesn't care about the date on the almanac. To find the answer, we have to sail halfway around the world. Back one more year to the tiny Indonesian island of Sumbawa. Towering above the jungle stood Mount Tambora, 4 kilometers high, its slopes green and quiet, its crater deep and sleeping. On the evening of April 5, 1815, Tambora coughed. Villagers heard a boom and saw a puff of ash. They went back to their cooking fires, thinking it was nothing. 5 days later, the mountain did more than cough. It roared. April 10th, 1815, just after sunset, the entire top of Tambora exploded. The blast was 4 times louder than the biggest cannon ever fired. Sailors 2,000 kilometers away thought they heard naval warfare. Stones the size of houses rained down within minutes. A swirling column of ash shot 20 miles into the sky. For 33 hours, lightning flashed inside the cloud like angry strobe lights. Rivers of glowing pumice rushed downhill faster than horses. Anyone within 30 kilometers, villages, livestock, forests, vanished under ash as hot as a forge. Scholars estimate 10,000 people died that night alone. But Tambora wasn't finished. The real damage traveled up, higher than birds, higher than weather balloons can fly, into the stratosphere. There, microscopic droplets of sulfuric acid spread like milk in water. They formed a veil around the whole planet. Picture holding a thin handkerchief between your eyes and a candle. The flame still burns, but its light weakens, its warmth fades. Tambora's veil became Earth's handkerchief, soft, almost invisible, yet strong enough to dim the sun. These sulfate aerosols reflected sunlight back into space. Average global temperatures dropped about 1 degree Celsius. It sounds tiny, yet the difference between frozen seas and open water can be just 2 or 3 degrees. Crops stand on even thinner margins. Within weeks, red sunsets painted Europe. By autumn, mysterious dry fogs drifted over North America, turning noon light to copper. But no telegraphs, no radios, no internet linked these clues together. To farmers, it simply felt like the sky had changed its mind about the seasons. Back in New England, the June snow you woke to is only the start. July arrives with ice on horse troughs. On Independence Day, crowds watch their breath while fireworks fizzle in damp powder. August nights dip to freezing. A single cruel frost wipes out fields of corn that finally dared to sprout. Families dig cellars for any remaining turnips. They grind barley husks into bitter bread. Parents go to bed hungry so children can eat spoonfuls of watery porridge. By September, the price of oats has tripled. Farmers sell milk cows they can't feed. Buyers kill the cows for meat they can't grow. Over in Europe, things turn uglier. In Switzerland, rain falls 82 out of 90 days. Fields rot, wheat fails, people boil grass. Typhus rides the rails into Britain and sparks an epidemic. In Germany, bread lines stretch for blocks and riots erupt. Bakers barricade their doors as mobs chanting bread or blood smash shop windows. In Ireland, 40,000 die from famine-linked sickness. In France, wine harvests shrink to a trickle, and vineyards uproot centuries-old vines out of despair. China suffers snow in summertime. Rice paddies lie empty, peasants starve. And in the Yangtze Valley, drought pushes locusts to devour what little grows. India misses its monsoon. Water tables drop, wells dry up. A new disease, cholera, emerges in the delta of the Ganges, then spreads on the backs of traders, soldiers, and pilgrims. Millions perish in the decades to come, all because the winds shifted in a single chilling year. Human minds, searching for meaning, weave tales faster than frost forms on windows. Some pastors blame divine anger. Some scientists blame sunspots. Local papers suggest underground volcanoes in the Arctic Sea or comet dust. Superstition blossoms in barren soil. Traveling fortune-tellers sell amulets. Wandering preachers shout about final judgment. But ordinary people leave quieter records. In Vermont, a girl named Abigail scribbles in her diary, "It is so cold, we wear mittens to milk the cows." In Switzerland, young Carl writes that his father rations candles because the dim days swallow light too soon. In Italy, artist Francesco sketches the red twilight, trying to capture the sky's strange glow before it vanishes behind clouds. These fragile clues survive in attics and archives. Each note, each letter, each parish log is a snowflake in a blizzard of human memory, telling us how the climate touched every hearth. Now drift with me to a grand house on the shores of Lake Geneva. Rain hammers the shutters. The guest list reads like a who's who of romantic literature. Lord Byron, mad, bad, and dangerous to know. Percy Shelley, the idealist poet. Mary Godwin, not yet Mary Shelley. And young physician John Polidori. Confined indoors by weeks of relentless storms, they pass time with ghost stories by candlelight. Byron challenges each guest to invent the most frightening tale they can. Mary's mind, stirred by lightning illuminating the lake and by talk of recent scientific experiments, conceives a lonely creature knitted together from dead flesh. Polidori imagines a seductive vampire aristocrat. Both monsters will stalk our culture for 2 centuries. Think about it. Without the endless Swiss downpour triggered by Tambora's ash, you might never have heard of Frankenstein. The volcanic winter chilled the world and, in doing so, warmed the hearth of Gothic horror. Hardship drives motion. Across the northeastern United States, families hitch wagons and head west in search of kinder skies. They clear forests, plant new towns, names like Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, all built by refugees from a phantom winter. Some journeys fail, wagons break, children fall ill, dreams freeze before they flower. Others succeed, opening frontiers that shape a nation. In Europe, destitute farmers enlist in armies or emigrate overseas. Tyrolean villagers sign up for the Kaiser's regiments. Irish laborers board creaking ships bound for Canada. Swiss watchmakers carry tiny gears in their pockets and start new workshops in London. Tambora's ash scars the map with dotted lines of human movement. It will take decades before scholars connect the dots. In the 1880s, Swedish scientist Svante Arrhenius studies how tiny particles in the air scatter sunlight. Later still, the eruption of Krakatoa in 1883 repeats Tambora's red sunsets, and observers finally suspect a pattern. Great volcanoes cast great shadows. Modern ice core drilling in Greenland and Antarctica traps microscopic shards of Tambora's ash, ceiling-proof, inside blue ice. Satellite data, computer models, and chemistry reveal how 120 million tons of sulfur dioxide spread across the stratosphere. We can now watch, frame by frame, how a single mountain pulled a blanket over the planet. Let's zoom back into the households of 1816. See the layers people wore. Linen shift, wool shirt, double waistcoat, outer coat, sometimes 2, indoors. Nights meant piling on quilts, cloaks, and even carpets. People slept fully clothed, a small dog under the covers for warmth. Meals shrank. Breakfast might be crusts softened in hot water. Dinner, a thin stew of cabbage core and barley. Salt pork, once a staple, vanishes. Pigs are slaughtered early because feed is scarce. Mothers stretch flour with ground acorns. Fathers swap heirloom tools for sacks of rye. Children chew willow bark to quiet stomach cramps. Markets echo with rumors. The price of oats is higher than the price of gold. Shopkeepers lock shutters, fearing mobs. Rural fairs cancel horse races. The animals are needed for plowing rocky land, newly pressed into service. Soil never meant for crops, now forced to feed the hungry. Holidays change tone. Independence Day bonfires are replaced by prayer meetings, asking God to spare what little harvest might still grow. In Europe, Christmas feasts serve turnip bread instead of wheat loaves. Fresh apples become gifts as precious as silk. Pain imprints on canvas and verse. William Turner, the English painter, captures sunsets so crimson that critics accuse him of exaggeration, unaware he is simply matching reality. Lord Byron pens Darkness, a poem where the bright sun was extinguished. Painters across China depict snowscapes in summer robes. Folk songs in Bavaria speak of the year the corn betrayed us. Even architecture shifts. Swiss farmers build lower ceilings and smaller windows to conserve heat. New Englanders invent the earliest cast iron stoves, cheaper fuel, warmer rooms. Scarcity sparks ingenuity. Cold, hunger, and crowding weaken bodies. Typhus, spread by lice, thrives in the ragged clothes of starving families. In 1816 to 17, it kills over 100,000 in Ireland and Scotland. In India, cholera rides on dry riverbeds and thirsty throats, then leaps along trade routes to Moscow, Mecca, and Marseille. Doctors bleed patients or apply leeches, not knowing germs exist. Hospitals overflow. Convalescents share straw pallets. Many never get up again. Yet nurses, priests, and midwives walk icy roads to tend the sick, leaving footprints that fill with snow before morning. By late 1817, the veil thins, sunlight strengthens. Farmers dare to plant on schedule. Wheat sprouts, hesitates, but holds. Apples swell green and sweet by autumn. A sigh runs across continents. Still, scars remain. Empty cottages, fresh graves, folk memories that hard times walk in thin shoes and can arrive without warning. Governments, stung by riots, begin grain stockpiles. Meteorologists study barometers more closely. Writers keep penning end-of-days fiction. Society learns, but only a little, that the sky can be fragile. Today, jet trails and satellite images let us see volcano plumes in near real time. We have weather models, global seed banks, international aid. Yet Tambora's lesson still whispers, one eruption can bend the climate. Pinatubo in 1991 cooled Earth by 0.5 degrees for 2 years. Hunga-Tonga in 2022 injected more water vapor than any event on record. The planet is large, but balance is fine. We live under the same thin sky our ancestors watched in confusion. Their diaries speak across 2 centuries. Be humble, prepare, and cherish every sunrise, for tomorrow's light is never promised. So, as you lie there, blanket snug around your shoulders, imagine the hush of a snow-covered June meadow. Picture distant church bells, muffled by falling flakes. Feel the faint sting of cold that once settled over half the globe, then remember that spring did return. Fires were relit, seeds sprouted, songs rose again. Close your eyes and breathe slow. Somewhere, high above, noctilucent clouds still shimmer with tiny crystals, remnants of other eruptions, other winters. But down here, tonight, your room is warm, your heartbeat steady, and the future, though uncertain, is yours to greet. Thank you for spending this quiet half hour with the Nightfall Archives. If our journey through the lost summer moved you, share it with a friend who loves history wrapped in moonlight. And before sleep claims you, drop a comment. What would you have done to keep your family alive in 1816? Until next time, rest easy, dream deep, and remember, the past is never really past. It's just waiting for someone calm enough to listen.